Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be Woman Dumps Boyfriend, Then Regrets It. Today's post is obviously geared for the ladies, but if you're a guy watching this, it's going to be interesting because you're going to see how women also make very similar mistakes that we guys tend to make in our own relationships. Now, something that's important to understand about what I'm going to talk about today, I've got a really good email here from a woman over in Europe somewhere. And basically what we're going to be talking about is how we interact in our relationships when we're adults versus what we learn when we're children. There's an old saying that says we tend to marry our parents. Guys tend to date women who are similar to their mothers, and women tend to date men who are similar to their fathers. Now, what I mean by that is when I say similar, I mean similar in the way they treat them. So if you've got a little girl who grew up and her dad was never around much, or he never really paid much attention to her, wasn't very affectionate, just kind of a cold fish, he was just kind of there, not the type of father that she'd go and talk to and communicate with, and he was just kind of emotionally unavailable. The guys that she'll tend to date tend to be guys that are emotionally unavailable and will basically treat them and not give them the kind of love that they didn't get when they were a child. And to the woman who's in that particular relationship, she doesn't know what it's like to be, she doesn't know what it feels like to be in a relationship with a man who loves her and cherishes her and celebrates her and knows how to communicate with her. Why? Because she doesn't know what it's like. She's never been conditioned. She's actually been conditioned to expect and feel exactly the way it was in childhood. And so she seeks out those same kind of relationships. And I'm sure we all know people that get into these kind of relationships, men and women, relationships where, like, in my own life, both of my parents were total cold fish. They never hugged us, never held hands, never said I loved you. They weren't affectionate at all, not only towards myself and my little brother, but each other. And not only each other, but both sides of the family were this way. Or they didn't talk, or they didn't get along very well. And it was just bizarre growing up in this particular environment, because it's like, I remember during the holidays, it's a lot of times it's like my mother and her sisters, I remember them bitching and arguing, and that was how they interacted with one another. And so when I started dating, when I got old enough to date, I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I was conditioned to grow up in an environment to where women, or the main woman in my life, obviously my mother, didn't show me the affection that I wanted and felt I deserved. And so a lot of the women that I dated early on were women that just either weren't reciprocating the interest, or they had a low level of interest, or I went out on a couple of dates and I'd get rejected, and then I'd stay hung up on them for weeks and months, sometimes even years at a time when I was really young, on somebody that I had no chance with. And you go through life like that. I mean, years of your life go by, and you're just basically, it's like your personal life is on pause, it's on hold, and you're not really progressing. So I'm going to go ahead and read this email here that I got from this woman. And it's really interesting. She says, first of all, my boyfriend and I were introduced by our mutual friend Janet, who is now living in France with her husband. My boyfriend is also French, and I haven't met him personally. That's interesting. We were chatting every day until we decided to be a couple. I'm thinking that maybe you decided and he just kind of went along with it from the sounds of your email. Obviously, if you're watching this, I've already read the email, but it's interesting. He says, every day we chat, but not using webcam, purely chatting. It was I who always initiates to think of something to talk about, like how close he is with his mom, his siblings, how his parents are, blah, blah, blah. The thing you got to understand is when somebody has mutual interest in you, they're going to want to know how you're doing. They're going to contribute to the conversation. They're going to try to keep the conversation going. And when you're involved with somebody who's not reciprocating and they're not really trying and you're doing all the work and all the effort, that's something that you should really look inward and examine how the relationship or the relationship was to your father and mother growing up. Maybe there's some patterns that you're repeating. Maybe your father didn't love you in the same way that kind of this guy's not really paying attention to you. That's something that you definitely should think about. It's been 2 years since his last relationship. The ex left him, and it seems that he was not interested in giving details, so I didn't ask further information. We didn't have any problem except that I noticed he doesn't talk or chat much. Well, that's actually a big problem because he's not making an effort in the relationship, and you're looking at it saying, oh, there's just something wrong with him, or he's not the way I want him to be. The big red flag is that he's not participating, he's not making the effort. Either A, he ain't making the effort because he doesn't know how to, or B, he ain't making the effort because he just doesn't feel it. And either way, you deserve to be in a relationship with a guy who knows how to love and to cherish you. My friend Janet suggested to invite me to come to France so that we could have the time to get to know each other in person. So she processed the papers that are necessary and let my boyfriend send it in to me via courier. But it took him almost 2 weeks since the day that she handed it to him, which makes Janet upset because she's suspecting that he's not really that interested in me. Janet is very wise. You might want to listen to your friend Janet a little bit more. She wanted for me to meet someone else because this person is much more financially well off, but of course I refused. She's looking out for you. That's a good friend there. We almost had a fight because I was defending my boyfriend, and I told her that if I think that he is not interested in me, I would be the first one to know. Well, actually, honey, it sounds like you're the last one to know. And I would be willing to venture a guess that more than likely, deep down, you know this, and you're just bullshitting yourself. Guys do it all the time. After telling him about what just happened, he told me that we have a lot of things to talk about, but days have gone by. He never touched the issue until I asked him about it. He just told me that he hasn't thought about it yet because he has a lot of things to do at work, says he was sick. But my issue was that he has time to watch TV and football, but he doesn't have time to even discuss the matter with me. That should tell you everything you need to know about how he feels about you. Until I notice that he doesn't call me hon, short for honey, he doesn't buzz me anymore when he's online. After a brief hi and hellos, he would make some excuses that he's tired and he wants to rest for a while. I would say that he has left your phone-ship. And the reason I say phone-ship is because it's not really a relationship, because you just talk on the phone or the internet. You chat. You actually haven't even met each other in person, and you haven't hung out with one another. A relationship means you actually interact with that other person. And so, I mean, don't feel bad. I got guys that write me, and they do the same shit I used to do. They are friends with women that they like for months, years at a time, and they're carrying this torch around, waiting for the right particular moment to spring it on her. Maybe when she breaks up with her boyfriend, or whatever it happens to be, and then the guy finally gets up the nerve to tell her how he feels, and she says, I just want to be friends. And 6 months has gone by, a year's gone by, 2 years gone by, and he's totally blown all his time. He missed out on his life. It keeps going for 2 weeks until I've decided to send him a letter. This is what I wrote him. Hi, sorry if I don't spend time talking to you lately. Actually, I was seeking your attention, but it seems to me you don't notice it. I don't regret the wonderful times we spent chatting together. You are very special to me, and you are still special to me to this day, but obviously we want different things, so we need to do the right thing. I love you, and I want you to be happy. I want you to have what you are looking for. I don't want you getting into something that you're not ready for. I think it's time for us to move on. What I think about that is I think you made the absolute right decision. Deep down, you know it's the right decision. Your girlfriend knows it's the right decision. And I can tell you after having done this for over a decade of my life that you made the right fucking decision here. He replied, well, I hope you will find what you are looking for. Take care. I mean, you notice how he's just like, oh, okay, oh well, good luck to you. That tells you he's just not emotionally invested in the relationship. You're hung up on a guy who's just not feeling the same way. Now I'm regretting what I did and I want him back. No, you don't. What shall I do to get him back? Please don't laugh at me. I'm dead serious. This is what you need to do. You need to forget about him. You were obviously deep down knowing that you need to do what you did, and now you're regretting it because at the end of the day, you're suffering because you want him to care about you, and the bottom line is he doesn't. And the only way that you can move on and start to have happiness in your relationships is if you, first off, I would suggest you read my book because even though I wrote it for guys, the same principles apply. Plus, you'll be able to see what you've done and how you've been behaving in the relationships, not only have you had with this guy, but other men that you may have dated or had a phoneship with in the past. It'll really tell you where you are and what to look for so you don't make the same mistakes because you deserve a guy who loves you, who celebrates you, and who cherishes you. And this guy just simply ain't doing it. I would suggest let your friend Janet be the matchmaker and hook you up with somebody else. So if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going down at the bottom of the website, if you're watching this video on my website, and click the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of your screen, and click on the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located in the Wibbia toolbar. And if you have a question that you want to ask me or a topic you'd like me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen and send me 3 or 4 paragraphs detailing your situation. And just give me several days to get back to you with a detailed response because I get a lot of email from the internet and I obviously have to take care of my paying phone coaching customers' emails first. And if you'd like to talk to me right away and become a phone coaching customer so I can help you with a specific situation or challenge that you're having, just click the Products tab, which is at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.